We like this SUV so much that we gave it a big award. But even though it's excellent to drive and really practical, this new Hyundai, it's way better. And we are gonna show you why. We're Edmunds, and we test hundreds of cars each year on the road and at our private track, so you get the most trusted reviews. If you wanna know which car, truck, or SUV is the best, then stick with us. Take a look around this thing. If you are into substance over style, then the Grand Highlander Hybrid is gonna be right up your alley. This cabin might not scream luxury the same way that the Hyundai does, but there's still plenty to like here, starting with small item storage. There's plenty of space up here for all of your everyday items. You got a pretty large bin right here, this very handy shelf in front of the passenger, and the center console storage bin might not look big, but it's really deep. There are also two cup holders up here, but they're not the biggest. They won't fit our water bottle, but they will fit our cup. However, there is a little storage space right here that's not technically a cup holder, but the bottle fits right in. Now, the design in here really matches what's out there, and while we wouldn't call it boring, let's just say that Toyota doesn't take a lot of risks when it comes to styling. And that's fine, because in a family vehicle like this, function is probably more important than form. Now, in this limited model, we do like the materials. You're getting real leather upholstery on the seats, and we like that they've kept the piano black plastic to an absolute minimum, because that stuff is a fingerprint magnet. Speaking of the seats, these things are pretty comfy with plenty of support for longer drives, even though the seat bottoms, they are a bit firm. And the front seats also come with heating and ventilation, though they are a bit weaker than you're going to get in competitors, but at least they're easy to turn on and off thanks to these dedicated buttons right here. And speaking of easy, check out the links in the description. They'll take you to Edmunds, where we can help you find lots of information on everything, including the best price on your next new car. There's a lot to like about the control scheme here in the Grand Highlander. You're going to get a physical control for the things that you're going to use the most often, including this camera button, which I really like personally. Some stuff does live in the screen, but that's okay for functions that you're not going to touch very often. And speaking of the screen, this 12.3-inch touchscreen, it feels plenty big for this vehicle, and it also avoids that tablet glued to dashboard look that you're seeing in some other Toyota vehicles lately, including the 4Runner, which is a part of our one-year road test program, just like this vehicle is. That's right, we're keeping this thing for a year and 20,000 miles to find out what it's like to live with day to day. So to keep up with both Toyotas and the other 20 or so vehicles in our garage, check out this YouTube channel or head over to the news section at Edmunds. Toyota's infotainment system is easy to use for the most part, and the navigation system pulls in data from Google, and the voice commands, those are pretty good as well, but there is a catch. To power those, you're going to have to pay for a data subscription. So for most folks, we'd recommend just connecting your phone via either the wireless Android Auto or Apple CarPlay and using that, though we should note that especially in Android Auto, we've had some connection issues. Charging options up here are great though. You're getting a wireless charging pad here and 1, 2, 3 USB-C charging ports. And we especially like the placement of that third port over here in front of the passenger. It will allow you to charge devices without running cables all over the cabin. All that stuff up front is nice, but now we're going to get into the real reason why you would buy one of these. Look at all of this space. In the real world, we think the Grand Highlander has the Palisade and pretty much every other midsize 3-row SUV beat when it comes to passenger room. Now this version seats 7, but you can also get versions that seat 8 with a bench seat, including limited hybrid models, just not ones with the max powertrain like this one has. Seat comfort here in the second row is good, just like it is up front, and I also appreciate that there's a lot of travel in these seats, so you can add or take away legroom in the third row as needed. Now there's also plenty of features to like back here. These seats are heated. You're also getting climate controls right here, and the vents are up in the ceiling, which is very important, especially if you have kids in car seats so they can get some air. And of course, you're getting a pair of USB-C charging ports and a household outlet too. Car seats are very easy to install and they fit great. The door openings are super wide, the latch anchors and tethers are easily accessible, and even with a rear-facing seat installed, the person up front won't have to move up to put their knees in the dashboard. You can access the third row one of two ways. You can either climb between the captain's chairs or you can move these seats out of the way. Now, one thing to watch out for, it does take a manual lever to move them. That's kind of hard to operate, so kids, they might not be able to do it themselves. Now, once you get back here, there is plenty of room. This thing aces the 3 Brian's test. I'm just under 6 feet tall. I set up the driver's seat where I like to drive. I set up this seat where I'm still comfortable, and as you can see, I still got plenty of leg room and plenty of headroom. This seat, it is a bit firm, but for space, it's really hard to beat this Grand Highlander. And on top of that, you're of course getting USB-C ports on either side, storage bins, vents in the ceiling, plenty of amenities too. Back here, you've got tons of space. The Grand Highlander beats the Palisade on raw cargo volume, especially once you start folding seats down. And the good news is it also comes with a foot-activated power liftgate, so if your hands are full, you can still load stuff in easily. Now, the good news is that if you choose the hybrid, you're actually not going to give up any cargo room compared to the gas versions, and this is our largest suitcase, and it still fits easily behind the third row. I will say this though, this cargo area, it is a bit lacking when it comes to features. You're getting a household outlet back there, but not much else. You don't even get levers to help you lower the second row. If you want to put these seats down, you're going to have to walk around the car and do it manually. Now, once they are down, you do get a nice flat cargo floor, which makes it easier to load in large items. And if you wanted to camp in this thing, you could do so easily with a mattress. For a big SUV, this thing's got some real kick. There are other 3-row SUVs that won't offer you any hybrid powertrains, but this one, it offers you 2, a regular one and one that Toyota calls the Max, and that's the one that we have in our Grand Highlander hybrid. Now, there's a big difference in power output between these 2 hybrid options, big enough that this vehicle is actually 2 seconds quicker to 60 miles an hour than the regular one. At our test track, this thing completed that sprint in just 6.1 seconds, and that's quick enough for me to tell you that this is the quickest mid-size 3-row SUV that we've tested at our track that's non-electric or isn't from a German luxury brand with a high-performance badge. That means in the real world, you won't be wanting for power pretty much ever, whether you're passing or getting on the highway. This thing, it's fast enough for every circumstance. The Grand Highlander suspension is definitely tuned for comfort, and that's a good thing. It does a great job of soaking up road imperfections, and the ride quality is pretty good. Now, its acceleration might hint at some athleticism, but the handling, it's pretty numb, so you're not going to really enjoy carving this thing in the canyons. But if you're getting on the highway, that little burst of power, it's gonna put a smile on your face. Now, since this is a hybrid, we've got to talk about MPG for a second. In between these 2 powertrains, you are going to make a compromise between either efficiency or power. With the regular one, you can get up to 36 MPG combined, but here in the Max, you're only looking at 27 MPG or so, but we have to say, that's still much better than the gas version. This thing comes with a good amount of standard driver aids, and for the most part, they work quite well, except for the traffic jam assist system. Now, that is only available on platinum models of the Grand Highlander, and it's actually a hands-free system that works on the highway. The problem is that it only works under 25 miles an hour, and that threshold is just way too low. Even if you're in traffic, there's probably going to be times pretty frequently when you're getting up above 25 miles an hour, and once you do, the system will actually beep at you to put your hands on the wheel. So as you're going up and down and up and down and up and down, it's just beeping at you constantly, and it's kind of annoying. I almost just wish I had one system where I could either keep my hands on or take them off and be done with it. Visibility is also pretty good in this vehicle. You've got big windows all around, thin pillars, a pretty good surround view camera system, and on the Platinum, even a rear view camera mirror. This SUV does a lot of things right and very few things wrong, and we'd have no problem wholeheartedly recommending one. However, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. You know what we really love? A $90,000 interior in a $60,000 car. Gets us every time. According to Hyundai, the design of this interior is mid-century modern inspired, which, yeah, this dashboard, it wouldn't look out of place in a conversation pit in a 1970s house in the best possible way. Now, inspired is also a great way to describe the design of this vehicle. Hyundai could have easily just taken the interior out of a Santa Fe or an Ioniq 9 and slapped it into the new Palisade, and everyone would have been fine with it because those interiors are aces. Instead, they went back to the drawing board and gave the Palisade this, and it gives the vehicle a personality all of its own, which is great. The design feels like it's allergic to hard edges. There's gentle curves all around, and the materials here in this top-of-the-line calligraphy trim are impeccable with Nappa leather upholstery covering these seats. Now, you can also get this interior in black or gray, but please avoid the black. This interior looks best in the lighter colors. These front seats are super comfortable and supportive, a hair better than the ones in the Toyota to me, and they also come with a relaxation function. So if you've got to sit back and wait for soccer practice to end, you can just put up the footrest and do so in great comfort. Small item storage here in the Palisade is good, but not quite as good as what you're getting in the Grand Highlander. This center console bin, it's a little bit small, though that's partly because it doubles as a UV sanitization chamber. And there is a shelf in front of the passenger, but it's actually a bit too low and too small, and it doesn't have a USB port attached to it. However, these cup holders, they are bigger. As you can see, they fit our big water bottle. And I also like that there's a storage space down here in front of the console. It's a great place to put a purse or a small bag so it doesn't have to live on the floor. We factor in all of these small details into our comprehensive ratings and reviews that we do for every vehicle. So whether you're shopping for a family SUV or a 2-seat convertible, head over to Edmunds where there's all the information you need to find the right car. As for technology, we also really like what you're getting here in the Palisade. A 12.3-inch touchscreen matches what you're getting in the Toyota. And we also really like the simple menu structure of this system. Makes everything really easy to find, as well as wireless CarPlay and auto. Native navigation, it's not so good, but everything else is great. And the nice thing is too, you're getting in this vehicle some features that you're not going to get in any competitors, like an integrated dash cam. So if you happen to get into an accident, you'll be able to show that it wasn't your fault. The Palisade is also great when it comes to charging, and not just because it has 3 USB-C charging ports up here as well, it's about how much juice they have. They can pump out 100 watts of power, and for some perspective, the MacBook brick charger, that can only handle 95 watts of power, and that means that you can even charge a laptop off of one of these things, or a game console, or a tablet, anything else really. Now, this power supply, it is shared throughout the cabin, but unless everyone is going to be charging a big device, you should be A-okay. The control scheme in the Hyundai is also great for the most part. We don't love that the climate controls live in a screen, but if you're going to do this, do it this way where this is at least persistent. This area isn't used for anything else, so you can learn where they are pretty easily. Otherwise, you've got physical buttons for all the things that you're going to use a lot. The only weird thing is that this camera button is way over here, but other than that, everything else is pretty logically laid out. But my favorite part about this control system is that all of the seats here in the calligraphy, they're all powered. So I can just go into the screen right here and I can actually move all the different seats in every different row. I can even turn on the heating and ventilation, and I can even fold them all down, all without leaving the driver's seat. And don't worry, your backseat passengers, they'll be just as happy as those sitting up front. Though there's less raw space here than in the Toyota, what the Hyundai does is overwhelm you with features. These are heated and ventilated second row seats. You're also getting heated third row seats, and you're also getting power recline. And these seats, they can lean all the way back into a relaxation mode, just like the front seats can. And also, if you look here on the doors, you'll see a circle here with a weird icon. This is actually a safety system that makes it easier to get out of the vehicle, which is important if you have kids. If you're getting passed by a biker or another vehicle, this will light up and make a noise so they don't open the door and cause an accident. You're also getting a household outlet, of course, 2 USB ports, basically anything that you would ever want here in the second row. And in some ways, this second row is actually more comfortable than the first row of other SUVs, and that's really impressive. Now, when it comes to car seats, these two are about equal. There are also big door openings and plenty of room here in the Hyundai, and the air vents are in the ceiling right where you want them. Although weirdly, the climate controls are also up there, and that might make them hard for kids to reach, though I hear that might be a good thing. There's one other feature we want to show you that kind of encapsulates what this interior is all about, and it's the armrest. So if you hear it when I fold it down and I come up, you can hear it clicking softly, and that's because there are 12 different positions you can put this armrest in to find the most comfortable one for you. In the Toyota, you're only getting one, and that shows the attention to detail that Hyundai has put into even the tiniest aspects of this interior. Now, you can access the third row either by climbing between the captain's chairs or by moving this one out of the way. But unlike the Toyota, which had that hard to operate lever, this thing is powered, so at the press of a button, it starts to slide forward and move out of the way. And it's also designed to do so with a car seat still installed, so you don't even need to take it out. Now, this opening to climb back, it's not the biggest, but I can still fit through there. And once I get back here and move the seat back, you'll see that I have plenty of room. Yes, technically less room on paper than in the Toyota, but still plenty of legroom and headroom. And again, this third row out features the Grand Highlander because it's actually got a power sliding third row, not just a reclining one, so it can actually go forward and back. And we're going to show you why that's important in the cargo section in just a minute. Of course, you're getting back here USB ports, a storage bin, vents in the ceiling, and big windows. This is just a great place to spend time if you have to in the third row. And if you like what you've seen so far and is making you think you might want an upgrade, we've got a tool to help you get an instant cash offer for your current set of wheels. Just check out the link in the description. While it's true that the Grand Highlander does offer more cargo space across the board, there are definitely reasons to like this cargo area more, especially if you're lazy like me. We recently tested out the gas versions of both of these vehicles and showed that even though these seats move slowly when you put them all down, because they're powered and you don't have to run around the vehicle, it's actually quicker than using all those straps and levers in the Toyota. Now, these power sliding third row seats are going to really come in handy when you're trying to fit larger items in the cargo area, like our big suitcase. Now, it won't actually fit lying down like it did in the Toyota earlier with these seats all the way back. But if I move them forward just a few inches, it will actually fit in this way, and that will allow you to fit cargo as well as a bunch of people across all three rows. We tested this earlier. I can still sit in this third row, second row, and first row, even with the third row pushed forward. When we drove the gas version of the Palisade, it was a bit of a letdown, mainly because it was slow. Slow enough that I said this. Help is on the way because Hyundai will be introducing a hybrid version of the Palisade finally, and it's going to have more power, and it's also going to be more efficient. Well, now we've gotten the hybrid in, we've gotten a chance to test it, and I can fully confirm that yes, this is the one that you want to buy. The gas version took an anemic 8.8 seconds to get from 0 to 60 miles an hour, but this hybrid, it does it in just 7.4. This powertrain has about 40 more horsepower than the gas version, and it solved the slowness problem. This thing feels quicker from a stop thanks to that electric motor, and you'll be able to pass people and get on the highway without any problems. And the suspension, it remains ultra comfortable. It sort of matches the luxury feel of this interior. This thing just kind of glides down the road without a care in the world. And again, for a big three-row SUV, that's what you would prefer over having something that feels more athletic. We also have to give Hyundai a shout out for the braking system. Some hybrids, you can feel that transition between the physical and the regenerative brakes that recharge the battery, but in this car, it's seamless, just like it is in the Toyota, which really sets the standard for that sort of thing. There's only one weird thing about driving the hybrid. There's a bit of a rough shift between first and second gear, but that's really only something that the driver will notice. And we also like that both the Hyundai and the Toyota, they don't have CVTs. They both opt for regular transmissions, and that helps them feel more like regular vehicles to drive. Fuel economy was also a big weakness of the gas version that the hybrid, it definitely solves. You can get up to 34 mpg on some versions with front wheel drive, while the all-wheel drive versions like this one, they get 29 mpg combined. Safety features on this vehicle match what you're getting in the Toyota, and they work very well for the most part. This comes with the Highway Drive Assist 2 system, which means that on the highway, when you're using the adaptive cruise control, it will also do automatic lane changes for you. They do take a little while though, so usually I get a bit impatient and just end up changing lanes myself. Visibility in this vehicle is superb. As you might tell from looking at it from the outside, it's got even bigger windows than the Toyota. Also an excellent surround view camera system, a rear view camera mirror, and one feature the Toyota doesn't have, it has a live blind spot monitor here in the instrument cluster. So if I flip on the turn signal, it will give me a live view of the blind spot on that side. Great technology. As you might expect with the hybrid powertrain fixing the biggest weakness of the gas version, it's hard to find fault with this thing. The Palisade is just a very well executed vehicle, and on top of that, it also has great value. Before we get into value and share our verdict, if you have any questions about these two vehicles or any other comparisons you'd like to see us do, please let us know in the comments below. And if you've been enjoying our videos or find them helpful, please toss us a like and subscribe. They go a long way towards helping us make more of them. Now, value is super important for family vehicles like these. This is a limited version of the Grand Highlander Hybrid, costs just over $57,000, and there is one more trim on top of it called the Platinum, but we don't think that it's worth it. It costs about $3 grand more, doesn't quite add enough luxury or features to justify its cost. This limited, this is the sweet spot of the Grand Highlander Hybrid lineup. When it comes to warranties, the Toyota is just about average. 3 years, 36,000 mile basic warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles on the powertrain. You do also get 2 years and 25,000 miles of free maintenance, but in terms of an actual dollar amount, that's only about $500. And remember, this being a Toyota, if you want to use the native navigation, the voice commands, or music streaming, you're going to also have to pay for a data subscription, which is an additional cost. So the Toyota, it definitely feels worth the money, and there's a lot to like here. The problem though is just that it goes up against an absolute monster when it comes to value. This is a calligraphy. This is the top trim level of the Palisade Hybrid. So its price tag is a few $1,000s more than the limited version of the Grand Highlander that we have here today. However, if you compare the top trim of the Hyundai versus the top trim of the Toyota, the Hyundai actually costs a bit less. And as we've shown you, its interior quality and its exterior styling just really stands out against what the Grand Highlander can offer. Now, we've also tested out a mid-grade version of this Palisade, the XRT, and that thing also had an interior that definitely punched above its weight. So you're getting good value up and down the trim range. And the truth of the matter is, there is going to be a luxury version of this coming from Genesis, but I'm not really sure what they can do to make this interior any nicer, because basically with the Hyundai, you're getting a luxury vehicle already. And when it comes to warranties, this thing also has a big advantage: a 5-year, 60,000 mile basic warranty and a 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty, both of which are the best in the business. And now we've got to talk fuel economy, because that's probably the reason that you're considering one of these in the first place. For these two, their estimated fuel economy is pretty close, but in practice, we are seeing a difference. In its time with us, the Grand Highlander Hybrid with the max powertrain is only getting just under 24 mpg, while the Palisade Hybrid fell short of its estimate too at around 26 mpg. So that means you'll save a little bit every year on gas with the Hyundai, but if you really want the Toyota's performance, it won't cost you too much extra. And all of this adds up to give the Palisade Hybrid a value score that dwarfs that of the Toyota, even if in the grand scheme of things, we think that both vehicles are worth the money. Now, let's bring up all of those rating scores so you can take a look. These two have pretty high scores all around, so there aren't any duds to really call out. The Toyota wins when it comes to driving experience and cargo and storage, since it just has more space, though we showed you that the Palisade Hybrid's cargo area actually has a bit more features. The Hyundai wins the rest of the categories except for technology, where they tie, with its biggest wins coming in value and X Factor. This Palisade Hybrid looks and feels a full grade above its competition, and that's why it gets full marks for its X Factor score. So it's no surprise that the Palisade Hybrid takes the overall win by a big margin. But that's not to say that the Grand Highlander Hybrid is bad. This is still a reigning award winner after all. But in such a competitive group of vehicles, there's always a risk that something is going to come along and take the crown, and the Hyundai has done just that. So if you're after the most cargo room or really want that max powertrain, you can make a case for the Toyota, but we think for the vast majority of the people, the Hyundai will be the better pick. And by the way, if you really want to maximize cargo room, you should probably consider another big 3-row hybrid that Toyota offers, the Sienna. Thanks for watching.